Hi folks, it's Nick here. I hope life is treating you well. We're going to be playing Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends Pinball, published by Alternative Software in 1995 on the good old Commodore Amiga. Now, it's a pinball game which has 4 tables based on Thomas, James, Percy and Toby, so hopefully it's quite good. But they're all steam locomotives, well at least 3 of them are, and we have to, well, pinball. There's a fat controller there, voiced by Ringo Starr I think eventually. There are quite long loading times on this. It comes over 2 discs, but we'll edit this down for our own convenience. Thomas the Tank Engine was based on the original series of books called the Railway series, published by, well, written by the Reverend Wilbur Awdry and his son Christopher, and then there was later TV spin-off. Now this looks like it's set over 2 screens. Doesn't look like it's up to scratch with Pinball Fantasies or anything like that, but it's good to have the Thomas the Tank Engine music. So just 2 flippers down the bottom, doesn't look like the ball can drain down the sides, which is interesting, and this plunger down the right. Okay. It's a very basic looking table. Just like we just got targets and ramps to hit. Doesn't look like there's any mini games either. So yes. This game quite obviously is aimed at very young kids, so I have to bear that in mind when I review that. Looks like something you could pick up in a playgroup, to be honest with you, rather than a proper pinball table. But it's got the theme of Thomas. Be interested to see what the variance is between the 4 tables offered. Frame rate is a little bit, well, it's acceptable, it's not brilliant. So I'd go with Pinball Fantasies or Pinball Dreams. But this is good, I suppose, if you're a child. I'm not enjoying it that much. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of stuff to do. I'm trying to spy out the corner of my eye different targets to hit. You have to spell out Thomas at the centre of the playfield, it seems, by hitting those targets. I think an adult would get bored of this quite quickly. But a child, the sort of child that likes a 4-piece jigsaw puzzle with Thomas the Tank Engine, are probably like this. But I think they'll get annoyed quite quickly, and I don't think they're going to progress too far. But it's all about the music and the graphics, I suppose. So you're looking at kids about, I don't know, age about 6 to 8, I guess. Did you have this one as a kid back in the day? Let me know. I do like the steam clouds which are used as the pop bumpers. That's quite inventive. Thomas the Tank Engine Pinball, or Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends Pinball as it was sometimes known. Didn't know about this one back in the day. Wouldn't have bought it if I did know. That's a kick out thing there. So it is just targets, light them up for special bonuses and ×2 and all that stuff, and that's it. So you know the rule set straight away. It's nothing overly complicated here. Time this goes live, it's Pinball Thursday. We always look to see if we can review a pinball game. Eventually we will run out. Not for a while, I don't think. Mind you though, I think we've come nearing the end of the Commodore Amiga pinball tables that I can get to actually load. There is Slam Tilt, but I can never get that to work properly. It's one of those ones in a list which I can never get to work, like Cannon Fodder as well. Ringo Starr. I won't do a Ringo Starr impression because it'll come up quite bad. The Fat Controller now. As a kid, in terms of trains, I was into Elizabeth Hornby. It wasn't mad, I just had the basic Great Western, I think that was a green train, and an oval track. And I think for a birthday once, I got an add-on track, which is called, I think it's called Plan B, so they did certain ones, and it had gave you a side turning you could tack on. Played that for quite a bit, did enjoy it, but nowadays I suppose kids will have a digital train set, wouldn't they? Do kids still buy train sets? I doubt it. They get a mobile phone age 4, so you know. I activated something there. Occasionally you'll do something and there'll be some scrolling text along the bottom letting you know what you've done. In this case, telling me I've lost the ball. Bomb, 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 bomb. Thomas the Tank Engine said, I'm bored of playing pinball. Yes. I said I wasn't going to do a Ringo Starr impression, but I probably claim that as not a Ringo Starr impression because it was so far away. Leave the table, yes. So we'll go through them. I don't think there's going to be much variance here. Looks like it's all going to be hitting targets, but in various different positions. So that was Thomas. We'll go over to now to James, the engine, and he's in red. So Thomas and James are on disc 1. Percy and Toby are on disc 2. I never owned the books as a kid, but I did see the TV show quite a bit. There is a Thomas the Tank Engine game on the Commodore Amiga outside of this one, which I haven't come to yet. We might come to it at some stage, but yeah, not for a while I don't think. Or maybe I'll surprise you. Weird there's no side ball drains. Perhaps they thought a kid would get annoyed with that. Try to keep it as basic as possible. This has got some higher ramps. Some of these ramps are quite hard to hit. Music is different, so that's good. Yes, I'm not enjoying this that much. I preferred the Sega Mega Drive ones we covered the last few weeks. Maybe not Dino Land. I call it Dino because the dinosaur in the Flintstones was called Dino, wasn't he? But you could pronounce it Dino Land, I suppose. But semantics. But I know how to pronounce Thomas the Tank Engine and James the Tank Engine. Woo woo. What was the biggest trouble Thomas got into? Whoa, that was lucky. Bounced on the pin in the middle, which sometimes happens. Yes. You lost the ball, so that's 2 balls gone already. I might have a couple of goes at James to see if anything lights up. Would have liked to have seen some mini games, but what would they have done? Certainly had the capabilities of doing that, but very obviously they was aiming at a kid's game. As a child, have they done okay? Well, I suppose so. You could put a kid in front of this for a bit. They probably know how to swap the discs, unless you had 2 disc drives. And yeah, they would have got a bit of Thomas action. As an adult now, not so good. Even trying to invent a bit of nostalgia to it, I don't think I would have liked this back in the day, to be fair. As I say, if you had this back in the day, let me know. Did you enjoy it? Have you got warm memories of it? Because it is all about nostalgia besides the game. So warm memories to the past, what you was doing back then. I haven't got that, so it's a bit of a hard one to like. But it is pretty cute. It's unoffensive in what it's trying to do. It's soft music. It's easy on the ear. It's just that it doesn't offer... It gives you 4 tables, but even then it doesn't offer a great deal of variety. So far, we'll see what table 3 and 4 offer in a moment with Percy and Toby. But I think we're going to be roughly the same. So ramps, targets, just 2 flippers down the bottom. There's never any variance there. There's no flippers midway or up the top or upper playfield and lower playfield. It's all one set thing. And you could imagine seeing this as a sort of like a basic table a kid could walk around with them on a bit of chipboard or something. Obviously without the sounds, unless it was battery operated. 1995. Yeah, it's around... Yeah. I think it would have got eaten alive, this game. I mean, a year later, PlayStation was sort of like getting about then, wasn't it? 1996 was the first Tomb Raider, so I don't think there's too much room for this game outside these more modern day games, as should we say. Retro is all about how old you are. For me, retro really is the ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64 and the Atari 2600. For other people, it might be the PlayStation 1 or the Sega systems there. And eventually it'll be PlayStation 3 for some people. PlayStation 2, for me, because of my age, I'd say I've got divisions of retro. There's the super retro, then the super retro, then just merely a little bit old. PlayStation 3 for me is merely a little bit old. You know, retro, probably Nintendo, Sega stuff, Mega Drive and so forth. Then Amiga, then the 8-bit era. That's the super retro for me. Oh my goodness. You lost the ball. Thomas the Tank Engine lost the ball again. James wasn't that bothered. Bomb, 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 bomb. Ball 3 straight away. I don't know why I'm lingering on this table. I keep expecting something maybe exciting to happen to blow my socks off outside the ordinary, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not sure what else this come out on. Might have made it to the Atari ST. Don't know if it come out on the Spectrum. I certainly haven't seen it. Maybe I'll have a look for it, but I don't think it's going to be there. There might be some other Thomas the Tank Engine games, because it is a very, very popular thing for kids. The license would have shifted quite a few toys. I don't know when the original Railway series come out, written by the Reverend Wilbur Aldry and his son Christopher. Probably the early 1900s, I guess. I don't think it could have been a lot later. That definitely predates the Mr. Men. And then it was picked up, of course, the TV series. There's been a number of narrators on there. The only one I'm really aware of is Ringo Starr. So we're off now. This is Percy. He's a green tank engine, and so he's got a lime green table. Is there a few different bits on this? Times 2, times 3. This looks like the more accomplished one, but what do I know? Looks like there's a ramp going across the table there. That's interesting. So this looks like the most interesting table so far out of the 3. Hopefully we'll get some play out of this. Ball physics were a little bit floaty. As I say, frame rate isn't the best in the world. But it is recreating pinball of sorts. It's good that you got a choice of tables rather than just one. With just one table, that would have been quite bad. But it's good that Thomas has got his friends. Well, that ramp is cool. That's the best bit. That's the best bit so far of the whole game. That cross ramp. And again, it's got its own tune to it. There we go. Get points for that. Well done, Percy. It says. There we go. Yes. Is the TV series still going, Thomas the Tank Engine? Let me know about that. I'm not too sure. Oh no, I don't think there's ever been a feature film in 3D about it either. There'd have to be lots of explosions now and jumps and stunts for the youngsters to be interested in it. But it does follow that secret formula that you need stuff in a lot of different colours, like the Teletubbies, the Power Rangers, and the Thomas the Tank Engines. Who would win a fight there? Well, I'm going for the Thomas the Tank Engine team. Now, what other characters were there? So this covers Thomas, James, Percy, and Toby. Was there any female locomotives? There must have been in that show. Or maybe a bully boy locomotive that tried to knock other trains off the tracks. Thomas didn't like those modern trains. I'm quite keen to get to the end of the review now. I think we've seen enough how it plays, but I do just want to show you all of the tables. So if you own an emulator or the real computer, the Amiga, which is always best, is it worth tracking down or not? For a historic point of view, it's good to see. You won't go out your way to track it down unless you're really into pinball and digital history. Then by all means do so, because you'll need that in your collection. But as a game in itself, there are better ones out there. I always reference Pinball Dreams and Pinball's Fantasies because for me, on the Amiga, they're the best, and I think that's the common held view. So I always got to compare themselves against that. What does Pinball Dreams and Fantasies have that this one doesn't? It seems a lot more professional. It seems an enhanced experience. The colours seem better. The ball physics seems better, and there's a lot more to do. Leave the table? Yes, you betcha. So that just leaves Toby left to try and rescue this. Overall, I'd say this was okay. Aimed at kids of probably between 5 and 8. That sort of range would like the music, but I don't think it's a game they play too much. That's just my assessment of it. Well, this table looks a little bit bland. Music has gone a bit panpipey. Yeah, this is the dullest one of the 4, I think. It's got beige and light blue colouring. Are they saloon doors down the bottom? Right, so we'll whiz through here. Looks like a few ramps. Targets to the left there, and to the right. This isn't going to last very long, is it? This is at a time there is no DLCs, but I don't think anyone would buy any add-ons to this, any DLCs or so forth. Boom! So you can nudge the table as well, so left flipper, right flipper, launch the ball and nudge the table, which I haven't really done. Just concentrating here as much as I can, although it looks like I'm not concentrating. Were there any other kids shows converted into pinball? I would have liked a trapdoor table, now that would have been excellent. Or maybe Battle of the Planets as well. Now I'm just thinking heaps of tables. It could have been a Wurzel Gummidge table. Or Simon and the Witch, that was good. These are very British, these shows I mentioned in here, so if you're from outside the UK you might not know them, unless they were put over. A lot of the BBC ones were, weren't they? Right. Oh. You lost the ball, boy. You lost the ball. I don't know what character that was in Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't think it was an official one. We've got one ball left. Right, last ball. Then it's the end of the review. And we'll bid these steam locomotive gang adieu. Oh, that didn't last very long either, did it? Yeah, so Thomas, James, Percy, Toby. Favourite table was probably Percy, followed by Thomas, then James, and then Toby. but they're all very, very similar. There's not a great variation in what to do. The game is okay for kids of a certain age growing up. So I hope you liked having a look at that one. That was Thomas the Tank Engine Pinball, or Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends Pinball, published by Alternative Software in 1995. Got any comments about this game, Thomas the Tank Engine, anything retro or pinball, then please put your thoughts below, or of anything of interest you can think of. Huge thanks to everyone that's subscribed so far. It's a big help in growing the channel. If you want to help a bit more, there's patreon.com/njenkin, and that site's getting more active all the time with hidden posts, especially just for patrons. And until next time, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.